everybody, I'm glad you're here today. Today is October 7th, 2023. This is a red alert video in that my alarms inside of myself are really going off today. I have a dream that my dad had on October 2nd. I want to bring you a word that I wrote in my journal on April 7th, and all of these pieces, and with what's happening today in Israel, all of these pieces are connected. All of these dots, I think, are connected, and what they make is not a very pretty picture. So I am very much more, well, right now, I'm just gathering information, trying to understand what's happening over there. 5,000 missiles pounding Israel is a surprise attack. They weren't ready. I don't want to speak about that because there's so many other people doing a better job at it than I am. I do want to bring you this dream that my dad had because I think it's connected to this event. I'm not sure. I honestly can't say that I know this for sure. But this morning, before I even heard the news of what had happened in Israel, I had already kind of deciphered things about this dream that may point to that. Y'all need to correct me if I'm wrong, or else teach me, or there's lots of elements in this dream I do not know the meaning of. But there's enough of it that I do that I'm like, hey, this is a dream we need to pay attention to. I believe it is from God. My dad had it. He's 82. When he has dreams like this, they are different than his regular dreams in that he has to get them out. There's a sense where he has to verbalize them. And then once he does, he feels a sense of relief. All right, so the dream goes like this. October 2nd, 2023, this is what my dad dreamed. He walked into a meeting that he was supposed to be at. It was a classroom, and there was a head table with 2 men and 1 woman sitting at it. All the chairs in the classroom were filled except one in the back. So my dad sat in that one, and he was late, but he was supposed to be there. He knew he was supposed to be there. They began to talk, but he was so far back in the classroom that he couldn't hear. So he went to the left side of the room and began walking towards the front so he could just stand there and listen. The woman got irritated with him, and she felt that he was being disruptive. So she made my dad go stand in the corner. And so he went and did that, and he was very afraid to speak. So he could hear better what she was saying, just standing there in that corner, and he knew it was a doctrine that he did not agree with, but he dare not move. That's how he felt. Then the woman said, "Now is the time we will take a break." And the class walked out, and so did the 3 people, the 2 men and the woman. And my dad also walked out, and he thought, now is my chance. I can move. But when the break was over, he hesitated to go back in because he didn't, but it was a negative situation in there, but he went ahead and went back into the room, and he didn't want anyone to notice him. So he went back, he went back to the desk. He found a desk to sit at, way back at the back, and he buried his head in his arms. The woman got up and was coming right for my dad. And my dad looked away, not wanting to make eye contact, not knowing what she was doing. But she came up to my dad and she said, "You're the one who disrupted my speaking before. Come with me." And so my dad followed her to this drawing board, like a whiteboard kind of thing, in the back of the classroom. She had a pen and drew these objects on the board. Like he couldn't remember what they were, but there were these objects on the board. And then to the left of the board, on the floor, were positioned 2 medieval battle axes on long poles. They were just standing there right next to the drawing board. And my dad was looking at them, and the woman said, "Those battle axes will be your judgment." And then she drew a face in the middle of the board. She put hair and eyes and a nose. But when she came to the lips, she just did the upper part of the lips, not the lower part, just the upper part. And she handed my dad the pen and said, out of all of these pictures, you pick one. So my dad took the pen and drew the bottom lip onto the mouth. And that made her really mad. And then she yelled, pick one. So my dad took the pen and wrote in the lower right-hand corner, very boldly, he printed, I am 85. And that made the woman so mad. Then in the upper left corner, my dad drew a circle and printed HOME inside the circle. And the woman said, that will not sustain you. You need to choose my drawing. And my dad held the pen and put it right in the middle of the word home and said, this is everything I need. And that was the end of the dream. Now, there are elements in this dream I don't know. I'm not a gifted interpreter, y'all. But overall, here is what I can say about this dream. This is a prophetic dream, and then there is a difference between evil and good. My dad, by the way, is not 85, he's 82. So I don't think that was referring to his age. The beginning of the dream where he's in the classroom, classrooms often mean a learning process. He's at the back, he's late. I don't know why. The woman, I think, represents the world. That's my best guess, or at least a teaching of the, not our friend. She represents the enemy. She did not want her speaking, what she was saying to be interrupted. She got real whacked off about him interrupting her speaking, which I think is interesting. On the face that was on the whiteboard, she did not complete the mouth, as if to silence people. And my dad drew the lower lip so that we can speak. That's kind of what I'm thinking. This is a difference between the remnant and the world. Maybe even the remnant and the people in the church that are lost. I don't know for sure. But there's definitely a difference, a division here between my dad being a believer and that woman. Now is the time we will take a break. He had already decided that she was speaking a doctrine, a teaching that he did not agree with. Okay, so that's already established, and they took a break. I wonder if this applies to the United States, if you look at our last several years, there have been seasons of intense evil, and then there's a break. And then intense evil and maybe another window of a break. Like even certain presidents that were presidents for a little while. Those are thoughts. I'm not sure what that means, if that means that, but I think it's possible. When they came back in and she said, you're the one that's disrupting me. The enemy does not want the remnant or believers in Jesus Christ to speak. He does not want us to interrupt his doctrine. And so, thus, she was really mad. That's why I think she might have represented just Satan. And so, the drawing board, I'm not sure, except to me, and that's how my dad described it, it was a drawing board. Now, he is an artist, so this makes sense that it would be this for him as the dreamer. But, when we go to the drawing board, that's when we're making our strategies. You know what I'm saying? Back to the drawing board, when something doesn't work and you go back and try to plan another plan. I wondered if that's what that meant. Now, the axes that are on the poles next to the drawing board, my dad even drew a picture of that on one of the backs of this. Here it is. It was as if, I don't know if y'all can see that. The drawing board is over here, and this is my dad, and then those are the two axes that were standing there. she said they represent judgment. I looked up, there are a lot of verses in the Bible that have axes in them, or blades, or swords, all of that. Isaiah 10:15 talks about the axe being powered by God. So I don't know. Y'all need to go and read Isaiah 10:15 or the whole chapter and see what you think about that. Is that applicable? What other verses could be applicable to that being there? Judgment is dividing between good and evil. It makes sense that there's two there. That's kind of what I was thinking. But also, I looked. I don't want to get ahead of myself. So those are the things. I think the face with the lips, I've already talked about that. And then I don't know what the objects were. No idea. I can't speak to that. He couldn't either. Apparently it wasn't all that big a deal. But out of all of these, she said, pick your one picture. And it was as if the enemy wants us to decide what he has created. And when my dad drew the bottom lip, it was like, I will speak you into the world, Jesus, and no enemy can stop me. That's what I got from that. Because she was already hacked off that he had disrupted her speaking. And so I think that's what that meant. Now, when he wrote, I am 85, this is what I found to be most interesting. Of course, the great I am. When Moses was at the burning bush and he asked God, what is your name? And he said, I am. Tell them I am sent you. I am is what we call God. So I think that's what that's referring to. I am. 85 in Strong's Concordance represents two different things that are very applicable. 85 in Hebrew means Abraham. 85 in the Greek means troubled, distressed. Today, Israel is getting pounded by rockets. And this morning, when I had already gone through this without knowing the news, and then when I saw the news, my first thought was, I have to get this dream out to y'all today. Because whatever we can glean from this dream might be able to sustain us in whatever's coming next. So, in my interpretation of this, as flawed as it is, I guarantee you, I am 85. I am means God's faithful remnant. The I am is God, and then the 85, faithful like Abraham, remnant. I do also wonder if that Abraham applies to the Jewish nation. Clearly he's the father of the Jews. So there's some good things to be drawn from this. I am a Gentile. I am not a Jew. But I am part of the remnant. I am a believer that Jesus is the Son of God. So what I'm hearing is, in the face of the enemy, when they want us to pick something that, when he wants us, when the enemy wants us to pick something that he has contrived, that we stand up and go, I belong to God's faithful remnant. No matter what kind of distress or trouble you bring my way or I'm living through. So I think that's what this dream means. And when my dad wrote H-O-M-E, I believe that's we belong to home, the kingdom of God, the heavenly kingdom. And the enemy will say, that will not sustain you. You need to choose my drawings. And when my dad said, this is everything I need. That is the message of this dream. God, the great I am, is everything we need. And I think we're about to experience some pretty big shaking in the world. In fact, I asked God when I heard the news about the war in Israel. I said, is this it? And I don't know. It's not like I heard anything back. I didn't. Um, I'll go in prayer tomorrow. I'll come to y'all if I hear anything. And please post below, comment below. What are you hearing in the Spirit? What is the Spirit leading you to in Scripture? So I was gonna, I cannot remember if I brought this to you before. I'm so sorry. If I were organized, I would probably keep a file on it, but I'm not. I'm just like winging it here by whatever God shows me or leads me to. I'm like, okay, I'll do that. I'm not gonna spend time to record it, but I'm going to read to you what I wrote in my journal on April 7th, 2023. And as usual, I ask God this from time to time. What is about to happen, Father? What is coming? And this is what I heard him say. Child, listen to me. You are at the brink. You are at the tipping point. The world has been weighed and found wanting. Be thou close to me, for you are about to see the unseeable. Mark my words, mark this day. The end is soon to come upon you. And I asked, what end? Do you mean the United States? Do you mean the dollar, the church? What ending are you talking about, Father? And he says, the niceties of your life is what he's, let me rephrase that. The niceties of your life. Be ever vigil, my child, on your gatherings of people and preps. Speak my name into the world, but also gather now while you still can for what is coming you cannot even comprehend. Allowing me to guide is of the utmost importance. Strangers, believe them not, if you do not know their fruit. Do not listen to anyone you do not know, for I have woven ones in your life to be your alarm system. Depend on me alone. Depend on who I send to you. The ones you know already. Yes, I hear you question. A big event coming. Yes, is my answer. So big you cannot fathom its reach. But know this, child. As most quake and fall to the ground in fear, you will stand strong, firmly rooted in me. No, 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 K-N-O-W. No, the world you see is about to change. And I asked when. Soon. So soon you must be swift in your work. You will see it change. You will see it clearly on the horizon, for I will alert you. This is it. Move. Gather the rest of your supplies and shelter in me. For the storm will be so mighty, you will wonder if you can survive its blast. You will have time. You do have time. Be mighty in your knowledge of my strength. And then I ask this, is it nuclear, Father? Yes, child. The devastation of which no man can conceive. I have removed the stumbling blocks in your path, so you may walk this path without hindrance. And I said, who and how will I survive? Focus on your own house. Do not waste time listening about things you cannot control. Do not soil your mind listening to the confirming stories of your corrupt government. Instead, buy food, prepare your pantry, soften your hearts for my people. I will warn you, this is it. And at that point, gather the last of your items, go inside, and shut the door, just as Noah did the ark. So shall I tell my children who are listening, be not afraid, be alert. I will care for all who need my help. And that was the end. Or he did say some more, but I that's personal. So, God closed the ark, the door to the ark. So I think that's what he's saying. I will care for all who need my help. I think that's his way of saying, I will close your door for safety. So every time I ask him, is it nuclear? It's always yes. If we get through this, y'all, and not one single nuclear thing falls, well, then good. Then that's good. I don't know the timeline on this. I may be dead and gone before this happens. That is possible. And I was quite frankly afraid to even bring that to you because it is so detailed. I'm not very concerned about being right or wrong about any of this. I just I'm just reading what I hear, y'all, and making a video of it. You do with that as you will. And you filter it and you pray about it and you hear what God's telling you. We are all different and we're all being positioned in different positions. So step into your destiny with God, whatever He has planned for you, and walk it. I have some real concerns about what's happening today. It might be the catalyst that triggers the dominoes. We will see. I pray for our brothers and sisters, all the people over there. Oh my, so bothered by that. If you want to email me, y'all, GinaLimaCharlie@gmail.com. You are more than welcome. I'm really bad about responding to emails. For a while there, I thought I was pretty good at it, but I'm really bad at it. But I will sit down this afternoon as soon as I get this video up, and I will respond to the videos. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear what you have to think about this. How does this fit in with Scripture? Is this... you tell me. I'm not the one to teach that. I have an understanding of it, but I'm not the teacher. There are other brothers and sisters who can teach. Do whatever you need to do to become closer and deeper in Jesus right now. Stay safe, America. This is Gina Lima Charlie. I'm out.